All right, so Ohio State loses. They lose 13-10 to Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. It had to be 13-10. Okay, wait. Okay, but before I do anything like that, let me just get this out of the way. Congratulations to all the Indiana fans out there. Congratulations to Hoosier Nation, I think you guys call it. I don't know, really don't care. Congratulations to Kirk Signetti and Fernando Mendoza and Omar Cooper and everybody else on that team. Elijah Surratt, there it is. That was the receiver I was talking about in the first half. I mean, you won. You were the better team today, and if Ohio State plays Indiana again in the playoff, it'll be just as fun. This was a great game. Anyone that says that this was a boring game is out of their mind. I was worried that Ohio State would come out and have like the Michigan kind of hangover. I don't think that was the case. I really don't. Does it suck that we lost this game after the Michigan win? Yeah, it does. But Day had his guys ready to go. And this game wasn't on Ryan Day. As much as people are going to probably say that it is on Ryan Day, I don't think it was. Now I can go back in the future and maybe I'll change my mind, but when your offense gets down in the red zone on two separate occasions in the second half and you come up with 0 points, and on the third down, let's not even go there yet. Let's save that because that was the second one. Sayan's got to keep his knee up on the QB sneak. He cannot get that low. I get getting low it helps, and maybe that's an offensive line issue. Yet again, that's a Justin Fry issue because Justin Fry was so bad at recruiting and developing offensive linemen. He's out, so now we have a better. Never mind. Whatever. Our offensive line could not really get any push in the second half, and maybe that's why Sayan got so low on the QB sneak. He did that last week against Michigan. It didn't really cost him because we ended up winning that game. It cost him today. If Sayan is upright and is able to get that first down, Ohio State probably scores and takes the lead. Now, with Mendoza in a 2-minute drive, I'm not entirely confident that Ohio State still wins that game, even if we do score. Because Indiana is really, really good on 2-minute drives in the fourth quarter. They are. They're really good at it. And that was the first one. And I was like, okay. I didn't think the refs were going to be able to overturn it. I didn't think there was enough evidence. They put the pieces together. Okay. I didn't like it, but that's because I'm an Ohio State fan. I hate it when calls don't go our way. And if I was looking at it, he was probably short. So it sucks. But I was thinking about this during the game. I'm like, man, if we take our 3 there, and this is a tie ball game, we have this ball like we did, we could be taking the lead for this field goal right now. And yet again, I will say I'm not confident Ohio State wins this game, even with Ohio State settling for field goals on both of those drives and end up taking a 3-point lead. But fielding really, for the past 2 years, all of these Ohio State losses look the same. Ohio State is, I don't want to say clearly the better team, because today they weren't clearly the better team. I think Indiana played more to their ceiling than Ohio State did today. Ohio State definitely left some on the field. Fielding did leave points on the board or on the field. But so did Sayan. Sayan did not have a good game today. He probably still gets to New York. Mendoza is going to win the Heisman. He just had his Heisman moment. And congratulations to Fernando Mendoza. Pavi is not going to get it because of this game and how Mendoza played against an Ohio State defense that is one of, if not the best in the country. and you know, it sucks. They had a really good game plan. Indiana did for Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. They you confuse Julian Sayin and you make him hold onto the ball, and that offensive line is not going to be able to protect him forever, and you get the sack. And that's exactly what you did. And even in the play that Sayin did convert on the third down, and he checked it off to the running back, you could see there was the corner routes for both Carnell and I made it maybe Carnell. I'm for sure JJ, but maybe for Carnell too. They were triple covered on both sides, and they were on opposite sides of each other. They were both triple covered. So you can't throw that ball to either one of them, and that was good on Indiana. And Ohio State ended up picking up the first down, but Indiana ended up winning the game. So that's a good job by Indiana, and Indiana is really the only one of a very, very few defenses that's going to be able to do that to Ohio State. Notre Dame's not going to be able to do that to Ohio State. Georgia might, but I don't know. They're very inconsistent. They're hot right now, but we'll see what happens if or when Georgia and Ohio State do play. We'll see. Ole Miss is not going to be able to do that. I'm trying to think of anybody else. Texas Tech, I know. Oregon, yes. Oregon is one of those teams that can do that to Ohio State, and that's why Oregon scares me. Oregon and Indiana were the teams that scared me, and Indiana just proved me right. And now, will I say if Ohio State and Indiana rematch in the college football playoff, is it the same thing like Ohio State and Oregon in last year? No. Ohio State doesn't blow out this team. There's no way. Regardless how you feel about that Oregon team last year, that Oregon team had a bad night in the Rose Bowl, and Ohio State just happened to be really, really hot at a really, really good time. And I don't think Ohio State. If Ohio State plays to their ceiling, like they did last year, there's not a team that can stop them. But Indiana and Oregon too are one of those defenses that can prevent Ohio State from playing to their ceiling. And I know people have said that, and you can make a case for this game too. The only team that's going to stop Ohio State from repeating this year is Ohio State. And maybe they're right. Right now, I will say that Ohio State probably beat themselves in this game again, which is extremely frustrating. When, the Mizzou game happened, Ohio State beat Ohio State. Then Georgia, Ohio State beat Ohio State with the missed field goal again. All of these losses look the same, Oregon beat Ohio State last year, but that was a controversial call on the offensive pass interference. So Oregon beat Ohio State that year, but then Ohio State blew out Oregon in the Rose Bowl. So stuff like that. Ohio State always seems Michigan beat Ohio State in 2023. I don't really count 21 and 22 as anything because of Connor Stallions. Especially 2022, 2021, Ohio, you can argue that Michigan beat Ohio State that year. Ohio State really didn't beat themselves in that game. And then especially in 2024, Ohio State beat Ohio State. Michigan did not beat Ohio State. Ohio State beat Ohio State in that game. But it's unfortunate that Ohio State still is not going to be able to get an undefeated season and go 16-0. None of these guys, they'll get a pair of gold pants, but the graduating class is never going to have a Big Ten championship, which is unfortunate. But this is motivation. This game right here is motivation for the rest. This is what the Michigan game was last year. Not to the extent of what Ryan Day, the pressure of Ryan Day and under that entire team, and how hot it was in Columbus. It won't be that. I think it'll be closer to the Oregon loss last year, where it stings, and Ohio State's going to have an off week. It's the same thing. Now, if they come out with the mentality that they did against Nebraska last year, Ohio State will not win another game. And they'll lose to, a Ole Miss or whoever they get matched up in a meaningless, or not meaningless, but a bowl game next in a few weeks. And, this is good because this is going to sting. And Ohio State's going to have 2 off weeks to get their bearings and lick their wounds, and teams are going to study this game, and they're going to be like, this is how we beat Ohio State. And you gotta, man, this game kind of meant a lot because Indiana is obviously going to be 1. Georgia will probably be 2 after the beating they just did to Alabama. They'll probably be 2. Ohio State will probably be 3. It's either Georgia's 2 and Ohio State's 3, or Ohio State's 2 and Georgia's 3. And Texas Tech will be 4. And I don't think anyone wants to play Texas Tech this right now. I don't. I would rather play Georgia than Texas Tech right now. That's just me. So Oregon will probably be the 5 seed. They'll probably play Tulane. Duke is beating Virginia at this point, so James Madison will probably be in. Oregon might even play James Madison. I don't know how that's going to work. Probably Oregon will play James Madison, and then Tulane will bump up, and maybe Ohio State gets to play that winner, which would be really good. If Ohio State can get a good draw out of this, I'm not really that mad about this game. If Ohio State can, get the draw that Notre Dame did last year, where they play an Indiana team that no one really feared in going into the playoff, a Penn State team that chokes under pressure, and a Boise State team. Not Boise State, that was Penn State. Who did Notre Dame play? Hold on. I got this. Notre Dame played Indiana in the first round. And then who did they play out of the conference winners? Not Arizona State. Arizona State played Texas. Oregon played Ohio State. Boise played Penn State. Who played Notre Dame? Oh my God. I'll come back to that because that's gonna bug me. I might even end this recording and come back and say that, but that's annoying. But yeah, Mendoza, he played himself right to the Heisman. He will win the Heisman this year. I don't think there's any doubt about it anymore. Pavio will be next, probably Jeremiah Love, and then Julian Sand. It is what it is at this point. If Ohio State can get a good draw out of this, I'm not that mad about it. It's unfortunate that the players that are graduated and that are leaving this year are never going to have a Big Ten championship to their name. I said this before to other people. Ohio State, before the game, this is the one thing Ohio State has not gotten. They've gotten Rose Bowl championships. They've gotten national championships. They beat Michigan. This was their one thing that Ohio State just has not had yet. And they missed their opportunity again, and it sucks. And Indiana was a better team. But what are you going to do? All you got to do is lick your wounds and come back even stronger, come back mad, and play the way you did last year. That's what you got to do. Because there are going to be some Ohio State fans, and I feel bad for Fielding, but man, this is the second year in a row that he's cost us a game. Again, the Michigan game last year, and now the Big Ten championship. Now he made up for it last year with the national championship when he basically clinched the game for us and with a field goal. But anything short of that, people are going to be coming for his head, and I feel bad. But you signed up to be a Division I athlete, so you got to deal with those consequences. It sucks, but that's the game, and some people just don't know boundaries. I will never be one of those people that are making death threats because you lost me a football game. I'll never do it. Never do it. And if I do, I got to start thinking about my life and what my decisions are leading up to that. So, it is what it is. Ohio State will be off the first round of the playoffs. Selection Sunday is going to be tomorrow, I think. I think it's tomorrow. But yeah, this is it's upsetting. The fact that Ohio State had it in their hands again and they let it slip away. This doesn't hurt as bad as the Michigan game or I don't even think it's the Missouri game, but it sucks. It stings, and, you know, that's unfortunate. I will say this one more thing before I go. Mendoza better be a Cleveland Brown next year. That's all I'm saying. Unless he has a really bad playoff, which is highly, highly unlikely. He needs to be a Cleveland Brown. So that will do it today, unless I figure out what Notre Dame is. I probably will come back to that. But that will be it for me. All right, just looked it up. So Notre Dame played Indiana, then played Georgia, who Carson Beck was out with an injury. So then played Georgia with a backup quarterback in Gunnar Stockton in his first ever game in a playoff game and beat them, and then played Penn State, a team that chokes in the biggest moments, and then played Ohio State. So that's what I was talking about. I finally got it. Had to look it up, but we're good. Maybe I'll make a video tomorrow. I'm definitely making a video tomorrow for the Browns game, playing the Tennessee Titans, Shadur Sanders versus Cam Ward. So you make sure y'all tune in for that. Until then, go Bucks.